This is Sky Sports Live.
The Super League on Sky Sports in association with Stan James, the sports bookmaker, whatever your sport.
Is this to be the last match in charge of Bradford for Brian Noble? He is wanted by Wigan to rescue them from relegation, and it might just be too big a temptation to resist. If it is his last stand, he'll want to go out on a high against the Giants, who have never beaten Bradford in the Super League before. Well, it's been a frantic Easter holiday for all concerned in the Engage Super League. Round 10 will be concluded here. The results so far: wins for Harlequins at Wigan, Leeds at Salford, Hull at home to Wakefield, for Warrington emphatically at Castleford, and for St Helens after an early scare in the south of France. The table then is as you were at the top. Saints in pole position with a 10-match winning streak behind them. Leeds are second, Salford are third, but Bradford will leapfrog them with a win here. It's Warrington and Hull next. Huddersfield can get on terms with them with a long-awaited win here. At the bottom, the reason why Brian Noble is wanted at Wigan: the Warriors now 4 points adrift and a relegation dogfight looms. Well, two men who teamed up with Great Britain last year meet here. John Sharp of the Giants on the left, and the man at the centre of all the conjecture, Brian Noble, the Great Britain coach, the Bradford coach at the moment, on the right. And it's events off the field that are dominating the build-up to this match. The supporters on the terraces are having their say. Ian Millward, remember, sacked at Wigan last Tuesday. Bradford allowed Wigan permission to speak to their coach last Wednesday, and we've been waiting for a decision from him ever since. But the local paper tonight here in Bradford says that maybe Brian Noble will stay here at Odsal after all. Apparently, two directors have returned from holiday, and they are moving heaven and earth to keep him here. And as Brian Noble makes his way up towards his usual position, up here at the top of the terracing, you could read what the ladies said then: please stay. Brian Noble, please stay. There is huge public support for Mr. Noble in this part of the world right now. We await his decision. It could come in the next 24 hours. It could come at the end of the match. There is a rumour knocking around Odsal tonight that once this game is over, someone will come on the field and make an announcement that Brian Noble will sign a new 4-year deal. Well, we shall see. Huddersfield, of course, come into all this knowing they have not won on this ground. They haven't beaten Bradford at Super League level ever since the competition began. Let's take a look at the way the two teams line up. The Bradford Bulls have got Withers at fullback. Then it's Bai, Carl Price, Harpy and Vinacolo. Stanley Jean takes over from the injured Yestin Harris, so Paul Deacon captains the team at scrum half. The forwards, Fielden, Terry Newton, 7-month ban completed, and he makes his Bradford Bulls debut. Andy Lynch, Brett Ferris, Paul Johnson back after injury, and Jamie Lyon. And on the bench, Vanganar, Ian Henderson, Craig Kopchak, and Marcus St. Hilaire. And the coach, and for how long, the coach of Bradford, Brian Noble. Now the Giants, it's Riley at fullback, Aspinwall, Evans, De Vere and Gardner, Thorman the captain, and Robbie Paul makes his return to Odsal. The iconic figure for the Bradford Bulls over 10 years is now, of course, the scrum half of the Giants. Up front, it's Crabtree, Paul March and Gratian, Nero, Jones and Wild. It is a team that can shake one or two this. And on the bench, Drew, Snitch, Jackson and Andy Raleigh. The coach is John Sharp. Chris Thorman leading the Giants out. It's a big night for them. They've had a couple of defeats in the recent past and they want to get back on winning ways. But all the emotion tonight surrounds the future, not of Robbie Paul. He made his decision last year to move to Huddersfield, but surrounds the future of Brian Noble. We have thought for the last 48 hours, Steve-O, that he's a shoo-in at Wigan. What say you now after this newspaper headline tonight and all the banners around the ground here. What do you think?
Total confusion has reigned, as you say, over the last 48 hours, and I must say it's rather unusual that in the local press, the board of directors here at Bradford have made it quite clear that they have apologised to Brian Noble personally, and they have also apologised to him publicly in the local press this afternoon. And this man will be wanting to get well and truly into the game. Steve Ganson is our official tonight. But I think in the back of their minds, Eddie, until this game explodes, they'll all be thinking, will he or won't he?
Chris Thorman gets us underway with a deep kick-off. It's plucked out of the air by Michael Withers. Here's the first run of the game from Andy Lynch. Probably no one in this commentary box knows Brian Noble better than Phil Clark, who worked with him as Great Britain manager over the past couple of seasons. Phil, what do you think? Will Noble go or will he stay?
Eddie, if I had to try and read his body language, was to see the first mistake here from Bradford, a knock on by Langley. I'd guess that he's changed his mind. I think he had set his heart on going to the JJB Stadium, but what things have gone on, and I'd say he's now changed his mind. And if I were guessing, I think the Wigan club will be on the phone frantically at the moment trying to find a replacement.
Okay, Robbie.
Well, Brian Noble is the centre of all the speculation, obviously, but there is a match to be won here tonight, and with men like Robbie Paul in the opposition, maybe, just maybe, Huddersfield can break their duck here at Odsal. They have not beaten Bradford home and away in the Super League since the Giants joined the party. And here is Paul March, and the ball comes back here to Thorman. He gets it to Nero, and it is the Bradford defence that has to come in quickly and bring him down.
It's obviously the man, Robbie Paul, has got to be the man that can find the chink in this very strong Bradford defence. Remember, he had so many years here. Oh, not the best kick. Good offload there from Deacon.
Indeed so. Robbie Paul trying to find the hole via the boot, but it bounced easily for Deacon, and Bradford will launch the attack courtesy of Leslie Vainicolo. It's a big night for Robbie Paul. The first Super League return to Odsal, and amazing that all the speculation about his former coach, perhaps he's just a little bit overshadowed, and probably he will be happy about that, to be fair. This is Stuart Fielder, rampaging run from the Bulls prop forward, looking for support. There was nobody there. Leslie Vainicolo down this left-hand side, and Newton there with the first touch, and Newton with the second touch for him. And they've got men lined up here. This is Marcus Pye. Oh, great tackle, a wonderful set. I beg your pardon, it's Stanley Jean. It was a wonderful saving tackle, but have they only denied them for a moment? No, they haven't. The ball was thrown into touch.
Well, a great build-up. All came about by the wonderful run from Stuart Fielder. Midway in the field of play, not the best finish. They had the numbers. Super stuff, keeping the ball alive. Terry Newton involved on two occasions there.
This is Michael DeVere now for Huddersfield, dumped to the ground. We have Paul Cullen with us this evening, fresh from the big victory against Castleford Tigers last night, and no doubt breathing a lot easier than he was on Friday evening. Paul, well done. Could be a good match, this.
Can't wait for it. You know, it's big ask, big question tonight, I think, is how the Bulls go without the guidance and leadership of Iestyn Harris, and his absence is countered by the fact that Terry Newton and Paul Johnson are making Terry his debut, I think, and Paul on his comeback. So that's the big questions of how Bradford go without Iestyn and with those two back in the side.
There is Iestyn Harris. Looks like he is the water carrier for the Bradford Bulls tonight.
Okay.
And it's Bradford who have the head and feed at this scrum, and there is already a problem, I think, for the Huddersfield Giants. There's been a replacement as Carl Price runs the ball strongly into the stomach of Paul Riley, and the touch judge gives Steve Ganson the call. There's a knock on here by Carl Price.
Well, nervous times. You can see there that Price was trying to bump off the man with the ball carrying arm. You're always going to run the risk of having it pushed away, no doubt.
Well spotted by the touch judge.
Yeah, that's what you need, a good combination between the flag wavers and the man that's got the whistle.
Steve Snitch has just come into the action for the Huddersfield Giants. There's been a problem. Just trying to check who it is that has been replaced. It's Chris Nero, and that is a major blow for the Huddersfield Giants. Was that a knock on by James Evans? The referee says no.
I just got it.
Second, hold.
There is Nero on the bench and receiving treatment very early in the piece, and that is not what John Sharp would have wanted. It's a difficult place to come and win this at the best of times.
The one thing that the Huddersfield Giants have to do is make sure that their kicking game is good. If there's one way you can turn this Bradford side around and put a lot of pressure on them, and that is a good kick.
There
good
is
chase too.
Marcus Bye near his own try line, but he has the strength. Marcus Bye, he hasn't missed a game so far. He has silenced those really who criticised his signing at 33 this year.
He's been the most important player in terms of making ground for the Bulls this year, Eddie. Carries the ball very often and very aggressively. It's important in getting out to this quarter of the field where often teams attempt to trap you in there. Good run there from dummy half by Newton, trying to get his side going forward again.
Paul Cullen mentioned that Bradford Bulls have to cope without Iestyn Harris. It is the first match that Harris has missed here since his return from rugby union to the Bradford Bulls.
Well, this was taken away. No doubt in my mind that Jamie Langley, okay, never good hold of it, but the drag away from James Evans should have been spotted by either of the three officials. Well, it's a stop-start affair.
Well, Mr. Ganson actually, for a moment, he was going to blow for the penalty and then indicated it was the knock-on. And that is why Earl Crabtree is here with a good, strong run from the Huddersfield Giants. And here they come again. That was March at dummy half. He got the ball away. And robust challenges on both sides, pushing and shoving. Ball comes back to Crabtree again. Here is Thorman. On his inside is Paul Riley. An important tackle by Brett Ferris, who was the match winner at Headingley on Thursday. Now it's Thorman again. Good ball from Thorman. Gets it to Stuart Jones. Good defence though from Bradford on show here again. Michael De Vere and Thorman kick towards the in-goal area. That is going to be so easy. And it was for Leslie Vinacolo.
Far too strong. The idea was okay, but very slow to get back. Huddersfield, the big fella's got it. That's a good move. That's very quick thinking by the Bulls. John Sharp will get the message out to his players. He can't turn you back. And that's what some of them did on that far right-hand side.
You know, coaches often play the emotional card when it comes to getting the team up for a game, and maybe Brian Noble's done that again. No, another handling error, no, this time a penalty. The Bulls do seem up for it, come up with a lot of handling errors inside the first 6 minutes, but they are attempting to play this game quickly from the start.
No doubt about it, it was a steal. Stuart Jones is the culprit, but what another good run by this prop forward Andy Lynch.
Invariably the Bulls like to score early. First 10 minutes, it's usually down the left edge, and they've got an ideal chance now to get some points on the board.
Look for a moment then as though Paul Deacon had not found touch over on that far side. But then the touch judge raised the flag and gave him the benefit of the doubt. So that's why Bradford are in possession, and they come forward here with Stuart Fielden. Dumps the ball back. Deacon picks it up again. It's now with Langley.
Just need to stand a little bit further back, perhaps.
I think, you know, the Huddersfield might have been hard done by over on that far side. Here is Andy Lynch. We'll take a look at the incident I'm talking about in a moment, when Deacon tried to find touch on the far side, and Huddersfield believe they prevented the ball from crossing the whitewash. Well, maybe it's academic now. It is academic because they have it back in the shape of James Evans, the Huddersfield Giants.
You can see there that Terry Newton, this is the incident. No, his foot had, I think his foot...
I don't think it had, Steve-O.
It's hard to say, I suppose.
They're the gambles that you take sometimes as a coach. That ball that went from Terry Newton then, knocked on by Stuart Fielden. How many times have we seen that same play scored on by the Bradford Bulls? Henderson out, flat attack right at the line, and Fielden on it like a train.
Let's go down to the sideline, Bill.
Eddie, you were talking about Iestyn Harris's absence. He's running the water this evening for the Bradford Bulls, and the word is that he will be back for the game against Warrington. I'm not sure Paul Cullen wanted to hear that. And Ben Harris as well, who is missing tonight with a rib injury, also likely to be back at the weekend. They're both hoping to be back. Iestyn will have a scan tomorrow on a quad injury he's got, but he thinks it's not too serious and he should be able to play at the weekend.
Thanks, Bill. I'm sure Paul Cullen will have the welcome mat out for Iestyn Harris.
Marvellous news.
Here are the Bradford Bulls in possession with Paul Johnson. They'll be glad to see him back as well. He has missed the last 4 games, and like his coach at the moment, being linked with a move back to Wigan shortly. Stuart Fielden looking at Steve Ganson. He wanted a penalty for that.
Well, Grayson,
and he gets a penalty now.
Grayson was very high to start with, then Crabtree came in and got involved.
Okay.
It's a volatile March, who always seems to be in and around. It's going to be an interesting contest between Paul March and, of course, Terry Newton.
Well, Earl Crabtree, I don't think it was him. The referee said to John Grayson, keep them down.
Yeah, it was. Grayson got him on the first one.
Jonathan, come on.
There's another little word with Grayson on the run. Meanwhile, this is Lynch again.
Getting through a lot of work, obviously. Brian Noble said go out there and give us a good 15 first minutes.
And now this is Withers. Huddersfield muscling up in defence. We haven't seen too much of Huddersfield on Sky Sports this year. Remember, we saw them at Wakefield and they dug in very deep for a good win in the end against the Wakefield Wildcats. Here's Stanley Jean. The runner is Harpy. Now it's with Deacon. This is Lynch. Lynch out the back door again to Shantaine Harpy, and Harpy sees the gap once more, but it's quickly closed down.
Good scrambling defence by the Giants has to be as well.
This is Terry Newton, and Newton on his debut has scored for the Bradford Bulls. Terry Newton, he has sat out 11 rounds of Super League because of suspension, a 7-month ban for a couple of reckless challenges at St Helens last September, but he's back with a vengeance here.
Certainly has, and poor first-second markers. They really didn't just get in a good position, upper body weight, nothing that Paul Riley could do about that. He was a little bit rusty with Newton, remember, sent a very poor pass which came about with Fielden knocking on, but not on that occasion. Newton gets the first try.
Working the way upfield, helped by the end of a penalty on the halfway line, and then again close to the opponent's line. Whether it's the guy running from behind to play the ball, forwards running in the middle, or wingers out wide, they find a way of scoring.
And Deacon from just to the right of the uprights. He should make it 6-0 here to Bradford, and he does. They won on Thursday, no more than they deserved. A 6th win in 9 in Super League, leading here 6-0.
There you can see total confusion, turning your back to the opposition. Very slow. Left him acres of room, and he took full advantage.
Well, you talk about speculation going into this game about Brian Noble moving to Wigan. Speculation in the town of Wigan that Terry Newton, after this game, could even move back to the Cherry and White for the weekend's game and the visit to Huddersfield.
With all seriousness, the sooner this rumour mill stops, and we've been part and parcel of it, I know that, but the sooner it stops for all concerned, the better. Let's go down to the press benches. Talking of rumour mills, what have they heard? Dave Hadfield.
There's a bit of a theme of comings and goings at Huddersfield tonight, isn't there? Surely it's too much to expect Terry Newton to emerge as the hero after such a long layoff. Well, maybe not if he carries on the way he started. And what about Robbie Paul? Could it be a fairy tale return for him? He's revitalised at the Giants. He could emerge as a major figure tonight.
Stanley Jean on another typical run up the middle.
Come in.
I suppose rumours make the world go round, or there's a mistake from Terry Newton, and he's coughed the possession up. Look at this dreadful record that the Huddersfield Giants have got against Bradford. 16 times they've tried, 16 times they've failed.
Do you know, he's had a good season so far for them, Crabtree. Really developing as a world-class prop forward.
He's got Huddersfield to within 18 metres of the line. This is Paul March. Now it's with Robbie Paul. Flicks the ball back to James Evans.
Pretty solid defensive well with Bradford. They're not being sucked into anybody switching the ball back on the inside, as Huddersfield done on a few occasions.
It's Crabtree again, but he is halted there by Newton's tackle, and Jamie Langley helps out, brings him down. There's March again at dummy half. It's Robbie Paul. This is Thorman. Wonderful tackle, Stanley Jean. Low down, good target.
Straight into him.
Another high kick out wide towards the right-hand side by Robbie Paul, easily collected by Leslie Vinacolo under pressure.
One.
Look at this, bang. Set your target. Well, we keep saying it, but a few eyebrows, including my own, were raised when Bradford went for Stanley Jean. We know his capabilities, especially when you use him for just 10 to 15 minutes. He just explodes, doesn't he?
Taking over tonight at standoff from Iestyn Harris. As I say, the Bulls rose to the occasion on Thursday, all right, beating Leeds 20 points to 18 at Headingley. The Easter Monday results have actually knocked Huddersfield out of the top 6, but a win tonight will put them back there or thereabouts. They'll go level on points with Warrington and Hull.
Big problems for Bradford. The big prop forward Andy Lynch has picked up what appears to be a bit of an ankle injury. He's trying to run it off at the moment. I'm just going to make the point, Phil Clark. You mentioned Earl Crabtree. He's certainly had a big season, and he's got to be in line for international honours eventually. But what about Andy Lynch as well?
Been outstanding, hasn't he? I think it helps playing in a good side, but he really has improved. Had a good off-season. There's Newton again now, looking dangerous from acting half-back. Is the Huddersfield full-back Paul Riley down, injured there, receiving treatment from the Huddersfield physiotherapist as Bulls now go on the attack through Bye again, just 20 metres from the Bull line.
This is the incident, yeah, and that appeared to be a stray elbow.
An accidental collision with Terry Newton, I think. Here is Deacon attacking down the left-hand side.
Well read there by Robbie Paul. He's not at the races at the moment, is Paul Riley, and he's one tough hombre.
Here's Stuart Fielden. Fielden, thinking about the offload, manages to disentangle his arms from all the hands that are trying to knock the ball out of his grasp. A good ball then to Carl Price. This is Marcus Bye. Strength from Bye. What about the pass? And it's a Paul Johnson try. The referee just wants to check that the
grounding's fine, just touch.
The grounding's all right, but did Marcus Bye manage to stay in the field of play?
He did. Yep, the ball's away.
Oh, fantastic strength.
Unbelievable. Well, he can come up with everything, this fella Marcus Bye. He can often throw a pass behind his own in-goal area, and you just don't know. He takes the punt. This is TRY.
No doubt, scored by Paul Johnson, but created by the strength of the Papua New Guinea international Marcus Bye. And of course, Huddersfield were down to 12 men in defence, with Paul Riley receiving treatment.
Super stuff. He knew they were a bit short on the blind side, went for the power play. Huddersfield were expecting the kick, but I don't think anybody expected the inside pass from Marcus Bye. This is the injury here, and well, he certainly got involved with this fella, Newton. Beautiful pass. Oh, this is sensational. Wonderful stuff.
So Paul Deacon with the opportunity to add the extras, trying to drift it towards the post, just went the wrong side. But Bradford are ahead by 10 points to 0.
And again, the Giants did well to defend for the 5 tackles, but as all good teams can, the last play they ran it, skillful team, the Bulls, keeping the ball alive, no fullback for the Giants, and Johnson took advantage. Ball back inside.
There again, you've seen the Giants turning their back to the opposition. By the time Gratian had turned around, Marcus Bye was in the corner and Johnson was plonking the ball down. They've got to tighten up their defence, Huddersfield.
Well, all the talk about Bradford and Wigan and the connection, the two players who have scored the tries tonight are former Wigan players, Terry Newton and Paul Johnson.
First, hold.
I must say that this season at Odsal, I don't know what it is about 2006, but the atmosphere is very flat compared to previous years.
Second!
I suppose they've been to 5 grand finals. It's difficult to raise them, isn't it?
Doesn't look as though it's been hard to raise this team after the big effort on Thursday. They really pumped up in the opening quarter. Just too strong and powerful at the moment for the Giants.
Here's Langley. Well, we've got the band going, so I suppose that's something.
Well, I'm sure that'll help, Eddie. Where did you work that one out? The band's playing, so that'll help.
It'll help the atmosphere, Steve-O. Not the players, the atmosphere.
Great chip.
It's Huddersfield who are in possession again.
Oh, that was a cruncher.
Oops.
And that's got to be a penalty.
No, it's a knock on. It was a fumble at the play of the ball.
Well, he felt that. And I'm not surprised.
I think he's
Boom.
concussed, mate. That's why I lost the ball.
He was the meat of the sandwich. Okay, it squeezed out. Came up with a tomato ketchup, but he certainly had the impact. I don't think he's fully aware what's happening out there.
No, they said he's just concussed. Put him on the wing for a minute. Stand in front of Leslie Vinacolo.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tough way to make a living when you have to do that.
Good option.
Referee is somewhat concerned about the well-being of the players, which is good, Mr. Ganson. But as you say, Phil, if there is one wing you would not go and stand on, it's Leslie Vinacolo's wing.
Oh, well, the Bradfords are being fair. They've come to the right-hand side.
Yes, they've done the right thing by him. This is Carl Price.
Well, to be fair to Huddersfield, there's very little area out there that you can hide anybody. And wing, I suppose, has got to be the best option.
Second! Move out!
Deacon misses out a couple, finds Stanley Jean, who gives it to Shontaine Harpy. They make such good ground forward, don't they, the Bulls?
Yeah.
And this is Fielden.
Great defence. Had to be as well.
Terry Newton, dummy half, delays the pass, finds Deacon. Another try. Referee wants to
Just
hand
check
it
if
on.
there's any obstruction leading in here.
And he wants to check about obstruction under the posts in Huddersfield's favour.
We're checking.
Another good run from the hooker, Newton.
Got in front of
There's
the
no, as far as I'm concerned, there was no real impact there. Well, Crabtree, perhaps. To me, he's just a basic dummy runner. He's not actually running at him, he's just stopped. Crabtree went into him. I think this will be given. It should be TRY. No problems whatsoever. Deacon will be given the nod, I do believe.
Steve Presley's decision is the one we wait for. The video referee says try. And Deacon adds try number 3. Bradford on their way to what is a customary victory against the Huddersfield Giants, you feel, in the Super League.
Well, the video ref has got it absolutely right here. Watch for the dummy runner. If he runs towards Crabtree, yes, it could have been obstruction, but he doesn't. He runs in a straight line, virtually out of his angle. Good work from Newton. Takes a little step. Normally they use a forward, but it was this little fella. He's eager, wants to work. Got the 4. Will it be 6?
Yeah.
Should be from this range for Paul Deacon. Missed one earlier, but doesn't miss there. It's 16 points to 0 to the Bradford Bulls.
Well, so your back row at the scrum to bind.
And their aggressive attitude and effort in defence has been rewarded. They're allowed to attack close to the opponent's line. They've just got so many players offering options to the man at the acting half-back position. A short forward, a back on the hand of it, or even the dummy half himself. That time it was Deacon.
Well, Huddersfield in a spot of bother, 16-0 down, and of course hunting here a win at Odsal, unbelievably, since the first win since the year that a man stepped foot on the moon, November 1969, and their last win over Bradford of any sort was in August 1980, a 2013 victory in the Yorkshire Cup. The last league victory, November 72, 12-9 at Fartown, the old Fartown ground. So it's been a long, long time since Huddersfield have celebrated any success against Bradford. It's a dreadful run, Paul.
It is, and the signs are ominous, and they have been right from the first couple of sets. The Bradford front 3, Fielden, Newton and Lynch, have got far too much power, far too much pace, and are on a mission tonight. They're flying into those middle channels, and the Giants just can't hold on at the moment. They're spending the entire game so far going backwards.
Martin Aspinwall was underneath the little chip over the top, and this is Michael De Vere, tackled by Paul Johnson. There is Aspinwall again.
He's had a bit of a mixed bag, hasn't he, Terry Newton, since he came back. We all anticipated, and I'm sure everybody in rugby league knows that he would be a little bit rusty. But he's created 2 tries. 2 runs from dummy half has brought about 2 tries.
Hold. Go.
You might have just caught a glimpse of the fact that Boots and All is on the box tomorrow, and we'll have a complete review of the Easter programme. Plus, we will have all the news from Australia. And by the way, it's about time I think we told you about a change to our advertised schedule, because this Friday we are going to take a look at Salford City Reds, team of the moment in the Super League, against the league leaders, the unbeaten league leaders, St Helens. We shall be at the Willows Friday at 7:30 on Sky Sports 1. Salford St Helens replaces Leeds Castleford. We haven't seen much of Salford yet. They've been on a great run this year. And Huddersfield Wigan, we'll be back with Huddersfield on Saturday. And Wigan, well, first match for somebody or just a continuation on and the search, we shall see.
Be nervous times as well. St Helens going to Salford. As you say, they are playing out of their skin.
Paul, what do you do when your opponents are easily making 10 metres every carry? What message are you trying to send on to your team?
You've got to hold on, you've got to make sure that if they're going forward in one area of the field, you've got to compress, depth at marker and push up very, very hard on them. You've got to stop Bradford getting good kick position like they've just found.
That's a great kick. Leslie Vinocola was after it. I think he knocked that forward, actually. Referee, he agrees.
Just played the advantage just in case it just bounced anywhere and run the length of the field. That'll be the last, that'll be the turnover. But the way this Bradford side in the opening 23 minutes really have taken control, good field position, good kicking, very, very strong work in the defence, especially in and around that ruck area. Look, they're forcing the Giants virtually into one-out football throughout.
Well, we've got news from Bill on the sideline about Paul Riley, I think.
He's got a tough nut as the Giants full-back, because I tell you what, when he came off after that little clash, his legs were wobbling, his eyes were rolling, but he's back out, should be able to come back, as are the Giants.
It's a great run from Brad Drew that's created the try for Chris Thorman. That came from absolutely nothing. Drew only just on a substitute. He just cut them up down the left-hand side, and Thorman, the skipper, he was in support and he would not be caught over underneath the sticks. Terrific try from Chris Thorman, and exactly what Huddersfield wanted.
Tremendous effort, as you say, the substitute Brad Drew through the dummy. Oh, and Carl Price took it. Come to daddy, bang, straight away. Thorman did very, very well. Deacon tried desperately to get through it. Just a lack of concentration. I mentioned the fact that Bradford's first and second marker defence had been superb. It just fell apart. Good work though from Brad Drew, and that's one way of letting your coach John Sharp know that he should start a game.
Well, if the Bulls do have a weakness, it's perhaps a lack of pace. They don't have that many quick players, and as soon as the line was broken, the Huddersfield Giants were quick enough to get to the line. It's the first chink in the Bulls' armour that we've seen for almost now a game and a half. There was enough there to take the Giants through and give them a lifeline, because the game was slipping away from them. This kick now in conversion by Thorman gets them back into the game.
Very much so. It's 10 points they have to make up, 16-6 to the Bradford Bulls. But the try is created by Brad Drew. John Sharp had just thrown him on the field.
They see Stanley Jean, he's gone first marker, and Price goes so far wide, takes the dummy. Thank you very much indeed. Drew kept his cool. This guy knows the way to the try line. Boy, they needed that. Stunned silence here at Odsal.
Kick-off is gathered in eventually by Drew again. Stanley Jean was the first man to him. Brad Drew, 40th consecutive appearance. He hasn't missed a match since he arrived at Huddersfield last year, formerly with Canberra at the start of 2005. He played in the 2001 Grand Final for Parramatta.
A little bit more composure now needed by the Giants. That's just what they needed. Give them that bit of confidence.
It actually has lifted them, hasn't it? You can see that. They're running with a lot more vim and vigour, and Drew's kick down the line is being chased by James Evans. Michael Withers collects it.
He's a quality player. Australian Brad Drew, he knows what it's all about. And as I just mentioned there in that replay, you know, no hooker worth his salt likes to be sat on the bench. They want to get involved as soon as possible. Well, he certainly made an impact. Created that try for Thorman, and that was a good kick into the corner.
And again, hold.
It's silenced the crowd again. This is Joe Vanganar.
4. Wait.
Terry Newton will be the dummy half. He finds Shontaine Harpy. Harpy got a clout right across the face.
Hold.
Well, Andy Riley never missed.
Outside.
kick from Stanley Jean, collected by De Vere. He flicks it inside to...
I wish I bought a ticket on that train. That was going, that was first class. Throw in the four-course meal. Bang!
It should come with a viewing warning, that, Eddie.
It should. Matt Gardner felt that. Here's Drew again. It's another wonderful run from Drew. It goes out wide this time on the bounce. It finds Martin Aspinwall, and Aspinwall's on his way. Just hauled down by Michael Withers. What a run from Drew again. He's transformed the Giants. Here's Robbie Paul. Robbie Paul to the line. Just held up short.
Fully deserved a try. Great work from the Giants.
Here is Thorman. They've not finished yet. Thorman comes back on the inside. Clattered to the ground. Last tackle. And there's the man who's engineered the comeback from Huddersfield, Drew. Kick to the in-goal area. There's chances here. And the ball eventually runs dead, but it's helped across the line. I think it's a goal line dropout here.
Beautiful run there from Drew. And not only just through the dummy, it was a great step. OK, not the best, but Aspinwall picked it up. And this fully deserved a try. Fair credit to the Bradford Bulls, they got back, and look at this tackle. You know, I think us, the crowd, everyone was just saying, oh, let's just look on and watch in admiration. Drew said, there's a game being played here. He was scampering down the field of play.
And Martin Aspinwall felt that thunderous challenge from Leslie Vainicolo. Thought for a moment it was Matt Gardner, the youngster, but it wasn't. And all that good work comes to naught. And Earl Crabtree, one of the tallest men in the Giants outfit, he has to stoop for this. Not too much though. Wasn't a bad pass.
Nice and tidy, lads.
But Crabtree with a little knock on.
He knows he's got to lift his teammates now to defend, because if you allow the Bulls to get close to your own try line, they are the best side at scoring. We've seen that. Not the fastest side in Super League, but certainly one of the most powerful and dangerous on their opponent's try line.
Here's Withers. 16-0. Bradford led. Huddersfield back in the match, and Brad Drew has certainly transformed them. There he is again, tackling Big Joe Vanganar. Plays the ball to Ferris, and Terry Newton leaves to good applause from the Bradford supporters. He signalled about a minute or so ago that he was running a bit on empty. Obviously after a 7-month layoff, match fitness will be a little bit slow to get to him. And that's a nice kick from Stanley Jean. Marcus Pye is after it. Oh, he did well then. Michael De Vere did really well.
Well, he used Matt Gardner, the winger, perfectly.
Here is Gardner now.
He was only inches from going onto the whitewash there and just threw himself. Used the winger Gardner as a shield. Got away with it. Well, Bradford have to really steady themselves down somewhat. This is the incident where he just drive back on the inside. Did very, very well. But this is the time where Bradford have to just say, well, we are not in control of this game anymore.
Henderson has just hit Robbie Paul a bit high and has conceded the penalty.
Didn't miss him. Well, he wanted to make an impact, but I think we all needed an impact from his rugby league ability, not the swinging right arm.
Have they just gone into the shell a little bit, Bradford, or should we really be crediting this man, Brad Drew, and Huddersfield, Paul?
A little bit of both. Smart play down a short side. You know, one or two of the Bradford players switched off. There were three on the edge defending against the winger, and Drew saw it, nipped on that little movement right from the side of the ruck. And he's got power and he's got pace, Brad Drew, and he's got good vision. At this moment, the Bulls are just going backwards. It's the first time in this game that they've been on the back foot, giving penalties away, and they've just shown a little bit of vulnerability around that middle channel.
And the penalty given for the grapple trackle around the neck. Let's say over the course of this Easter holiday, I've seen quite a few of those. I thought that had gone by the wayside, that rule, until Mr. Ganson blew his whistle. It's not allowed, and obviously still isn't allowed.
Second.
It's Andy Raleigh. They play the ball to Brad Drew. He finds Robbie Paul. They know all about Robbie Paul and his jinking little runs. He's good on his feet. 10 years here at Odsal. Robbie Paul won just about everything there is to win. This is Crabtree. He does say, by the way, Robbie Paul, that the move to Huddersfield has freshened his career up a little bit, and that 30 years of age. That can't be bad. Here he is again.
Okay.
Stabs the ball to the in-goal area. Oh, and another goal line dropout coming up here because Deacon had to be very quick to hack the ball dead.
Smart thinking by Huddersfield. He knew exactly that they need possession, and that's what they did. Good covering though by the halfback, Paul Deacon. As if any just thought about perhaps letting it go on its own. He knew that they were breathing down his neck. Great effort.
If Brian Noble prides himself on one thing, it's coaching his side to defend. We saw just how impressive their defence was against Leeds when we began this Easter Bonanza Rugby League games. And again here now, this goal line defence has looked impressive so far. Brilliant tackle there. Is that Fielden?
Yes, it is. Fantastic tackle on Crabtree. Fielden suddenly is fired up for this. Well, he saw Leslie Vinacolo do one on Martin Aspin, who only thought, well, I'll have a bit of that. Here is Thorman, though. Gets the ball away. Good hands. De Vere. And Gardner skips away. Tackle's completed in the end. Henderson's there to shore up the defences. It's Thorman. Now, once again, it's Paul Jackson. Inching towards the Bradford line. And Thorman again. Back it comes. De Vere. Nero is back on. Last one. That's how close they are. The ball has bounced to one. There's the referee. Wipe the tackle count down. And Nero has scored.
He'll give it.
Now
he wants to go.
Well, Marcus Bai has led the protest.
There is no possible obstruction and offside.
Marcus Bai has led the protest, and Mr. Ganston was about to give the try, but then handed it on. Well, the markers aren't standing square for a start.
I think that's play on.
The referee's got it right.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure. But the ball ricochets back. No doubt about the grounded. That's fine. And the Giants, they're back in it. Bounces back. He's behind the man that's kicked it, so he puts him onside automatic. That's try time. TRY. The Giants are back in it.
Chris Nero has just returned to the side from injury on the sideline, and he has just come up with his 5th try of the year, and Huddersfield have clawed their way back into a match that was in danger of slipping through their fingers. Huddersfield are back within 6. Kick to come.
Good defence and solid, put them out there. Thorman getting to the dummy half position. You got to have a little bit of luck at times, and there certainly was. He got the ricochet away and bounced straight into Nero. Well, they've gone to sleep of the Bradford Bulls. Took a 16-point lead, looked as though they were in total control. Then Brad Drew came on the scene, and this man's kick got the 4. With his second kick, make it 6.
Yes, it will. It's a great kick from Chris Thorman, and it's 16 points to 12 to the Bradford Bulls. Huddersfield gradually getting their way back into this match.
And they got their way back into the match with the benefit of 2 penalties that got them up into this end of the field. Goal line dropout through some good skill, and then a touch of luck on that last tackle. Kick ricocheting back to Nero. Great play there, how they worked their way upfield patiently over a 3 or 4 minute period and then converted it into points on the scoreboard.
Well, Brian Noble watching from his usual position, and he was quite happy earlier in the match when Bradford led 16-0 after 19 minutes. But Paul Cullen, when you go down 16-0, John Sharp just has to be patient and just has to try and find the key.
John's been patient, he's been smart. 2 substitutions. Brad Drew's inclusion into the game made a massive impact, and he got Nero back onto the field, who left it in the first few minutes with what looked like a bit of a nasty head injury. So good movement from John Sharp. Patient, just sat at the back and watched. And he's seen Bradford just drop and lapse in concentration. Massive shot from Vanacola, and there was a big break against the Bulls' defence on the back of it. Big shot from Stuart Fielden, and the Giants then made another break on the back of it. Just keep banging away and you might find a crack or 2.
It's a lonely old life, I suppose, coaching when you're 16-0 down after less than 20 minutes. You have to hold your nerve, don't you?
You certainly do. You've got to try and keep the guys fired up and switch on if you're playing against players with the quality of Brad Drew. The moment you click off, I've said it many times, the margins are very, very tight these days. One player clicks off and there's a hole in your line.
It's always very difficult as well, is that when you go to... there's a high shot as well. Been quite a few of those in this first half. is that when you go to a commanding lead, you know, sometimes people think, oh, we're going to run away with this, and you can't afford to do that. You've got to be professional, you've got to be ruthless for the full 80 minutes. No doubt about the penalty.
Yes, it was a high shot from Andy Raleigh. Andy Raleigh, he has moved from National League 2 Sheffield to National League 1 Hull Kingston Rovers, now into Super League. And his signing actually was heralded in Huddersfield. Only 25 years of age, plenty of time in front of him. This is Deacon and Stanley Jean, and Johnson offloads quickly. Good ball wide to Marcus Bai. Take bravery here from the fullback. Couldn't be stopped, Marcus Bai. The Papua New Guinea international, who's won grand finals in Australia and the United Kingdom, and 3 World Club Championships with 3 different clubs, Bradford, Leeds and the Melbourne Storm, comes up with a very important try for Bradford and Brian Noble. That's his 4th try of the campaign, and at 33 years of age he gets better and better.
If there's one side that can get the link going, it's the Bradford outfit, and that was quite superb. You could see there that the wingman had just been sucked in. It was not the best attempt to stop him, and Marcus Bai knew it as soon as he stepped off that right foot. To talk about the link, and you could see there that it was Paul Deacon and Stanley Jean. Just a beautiful body swerve, just a touch off the right foot.
So Deacon shouldn't miss with this, and doesn't. Actually, it was very close to the far upright, but he managed to get it over the top of the bar. 22 points to 12, courtesy of Marcus Bai.
Really clever, Eddie, how they actually constructed this try. Obviously the penalty to such. First play back to the short side, just held up the defensive line, and then wonderful skill across the field. Winger drawn in, as you say, with the temptation and magnetism of the ball, and Bai went over closer to the post. Really well put together.
It's all about bringing in the defence, and that's where the winger comes in, leaves the gap, Withers pass, and Bai does the rest. Not the best attempt to stop him.
Marcus Bai, 11 times a Papua New Guinea international, and Huddersfield restart. Well, they had built themselves back into this match. They have to rebuild again, and they all know, every team in Super League know about this fellow on the wing, Leslie Vainicolo. But you know, he hasn't scored in 3 matches, and that could be a warning sign for the Huddersfield Giants. His strike rate is remarkable in Super League. It's just as good. Knock on.
Yep.
Stuart Fielding's furious.
Well, Stuart Fielding has this irritating habit of taking the officials to task every time it seems to go away with him. Yes, there was a man in the way, but he should not test it. He lost it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it was an error by him. Just going to make the point about Leslie Vainicolo about his strike rate in Super League. His strike rate at test level isn't bad either. 13 caps for New Zealand, 13 tries. Stuart Jones for Huddersfield.
Well, I think strike rate for games played, Eddie, I think is the best in the world.
Yes, it's a terrific record, isn't it? Coming up to the half-time mark, and Huddersfield looking to get right back into it again. It's a good ball, but well watched by Marcus Bai. Nero this time, no way through for him.
Well, there should be one more play of the ball
remaining.
after this.
Yes, it's surely going to be kick and hope in a moment, but Drew has it. And here is Robbie Paul. Will he put boot to ball? No, they go wide. There's the half-time siren, and that will do. Brian Noble and heir apparent Steve McNamara having a chat as the players leave the field. A match that looked as though it was so easy for the Bradford Bulls when they raced into a 16 points to 0 lead. But Thorman and Nero, with 2 tries in 10 minutes, got Huddersfield Giants back into the match. Marcus Bai, though, with a try just before half-time, gives us a 22-12 scoreline at the break.
They brushed aside the Galacticos of Real Madrid.
A classic Henry goal!
overwhelmed Italy's old lady.
Fabregas, goal!
Now, Arsene's young guns are on the brink of history and their first Champions League final.
Arsenal have done it. They have done it.
Standing in their way, Spain's Villarreal. The Champions League semi-final first leg, tomorrow at 7, live, only on Sky Sports 1.
There you go, son.
Oh, that's brilliant. You shouldn't have. No, you really shouldn't have.
Lads.
Nice one, mate. With smoothness and flavour, Tetleys don't do things by half.
In 1976, 2 soldiers from a British Army expedition reached the summit of Everest.
30 years on, we're back.
This time, we're taking on the notoriously difficult West Ridge, a route no British team has succeeded in climbing before.
Why the West Ridge of Everest?
Well, we as soldiers need to be able to make decisions in difficult situations, and this expedition offers the ultimate environment. The planning, the teamwork, the physical fitness required are the same as many of the things we do today. So the Army is in a perfect position to attempt this, but more importantly, bring back the experiences gained from it.
There are more people that have been to the moon than have summited Everest via the West Ridge. The next time you see us, we'll have started the climb.
To follow in our footsteps, go to armyoneverest.mod.uk.
Monday morning feeling? If you want an exciting new career with better prospects, CompuTeach can help you learn IT skills that could change your life. You could train to be a webmaster with CompuTeach.
But I don't want to go back to college.
There's no need. You study mainly at home in your spare time to get qualified. And there's tutorial support, so you're not on your own. How about getting the skills to be an IT consultant?
But I've got bills to pay. I just can't stop working.
There's no need to give up your job until you're ready. And then they'll even help you find that new IT job. Ever thought you could be programming games instead of just playing them?
Oh yeah, bet it doesn't pay very much though.
Well, how does 30 grand a year in a company car sound? So, if you're ready to make it happen, call CompuTeach now. This is the number, 0800 657 657, or text Sky Sports to 64118. The rest is up to you.
Well, Boots and All is with you Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, Sky Sports Extra, and again at 8 on Sky Sports 2. We will look back at this Easter extravaganza of Rugby League and look ahead to next weekend in the Engage Super League. And please note there has been a change to our advertised schedule. On Friday, instead of being at Leeds Castleford, we're now going to Salford City Reds against St Helens. It's a 7:30 start on Sky Sports 1. And on Saturday, we see Huddersfield Giants against the Wigan Warriors at 5:45 on Sky Sports 1 again. But do make a note of that change on Friday. We're at Salford now. Half-time here at Odsal. Bradford Bulls 22, Huddersfield Giants 12. And the try from Marcus Bai right on the stroke of half-time, just snuffing out, maybe for the time being, a Huddersfield Giants comeback. Well, Brian Noble has sat in that chair, in that dressing room, many, many times before. And he might be sitting in that chair, in that dressing room, many, many times in the future as well, if the rumours we hear are correct. They're all listening intently to their coach. And down the corridor in the Huddersfield Giants dressing room, his Great Britain assistant, John Sharp, is trying to conjure up another comeback in the second half for his team. 16-0 down they were. They got back into it. And then Marcus Bye's try just pushed the Bradford Bulls a little bit further ahead. But we're talking maybe about a Huddersfield Giants comeback. We have the man here in the studio who engineered the greatest comeback in Super League history, Paul Cullen of the Warrington Wolves. What was it, 21 points down at half-time at Wakefield?
22 back.
22-21 you won in the second half. So what does John Sharp do?
Oh, well, you know, if it was Brian Noble, I'd be asking myself and my players at the moment, how have Huddersfield got in our half? And you know, the answer that in there lies then with John Sharp as well, and that's been 2 movements from the dummy half when Bradford switched off, and a succession of penalties. You know, signs have been ominous all the way through that first half. The Giants have struggled to go forward, and Bradford have been very, very good getting off the line, and they've assisted the Giants all the way back down into Bradford territory. When you get down there, you know, they're as vulnerable as anyone else. You can make breaks through the lines. It's very, very hard to defend on your own try line. So John himself now will be trying to find a way straight through that Bradford line at some point. It's not going to be easy.
Not easy at all, but Phil, when Brad Drew came onto the scene for Huddersfield Giants, he seemed to have the key, didn't he? A couple of quick runs, darting runs through the Bradford defence, and perhaps they brought reward.
Perhaps a lapse in concentration, maybe in the centre of the field for the Bulls. And if you get through the line, well, they've got good speed in the Giants side, and the players were speedily getting up there in support of Brad Drew. So maybe that's the key area for them, really. They can break through that line, get your support players along, and then it's a race all the way to the try line, which at the moment the Giants seem to have had the pace.
They have, but Bradford, Steve-O, started like a house on fire, didn't they?
Well, they did, but it took about 10 minutes for either side to make sure that they got into the swing of the game. A lot of errors, and we all anticipated that Terry Newton would make some sort of impact. Well, he did the first time that he started running from dummy half, and he took advantage of this very, very weak defence. Good try. He would have been happy with that. And then, as you say, Bradford taking full control. You can't allow Newton to move like that. And what an effort from Marcus Bye, back on the inside. It looked for the world he was going over in a touch. And it was Newton yet again. The short pass, Deacon takes it. And from this point, it looks as though the Bulls were going to win quite easy.
And whatever system of marker defence you've got, your primary responsibility of the 2 markers is to stop the man with the ball in his hands. Neither of the Bulls managed to do that. Drew broke through, and great pace from Thorman there to race over from 40 metres out. On the back of that, well, one of the best tackles of Super League so far. Aspinwall just took the ball and bang! Vianacolo from the side. Again, here it is. Whoa, at full speed. Wow, they did well to get up off that quickly and back into the game.
Well, at this point, the Giants have been assisted down the field. Smart kick from Thorman. Maybe fortunate on the bounce, but you've got to make your own luck. And once more, the ball switching off at the marker.
Well, it was pretty quiet at Otzel. They thought that maybe the Giants were going to hit back, but Bradford had something in reserve. Poor play there. The winger come out of his position. Not the best attempt from De Vere there. Remember, Riley off the field of play. Marcus Bye gave them something to smile as they went into the half-time break. I think Brian Noble would be happy, apart from just a couple of mistakes where the defence just went to sleep. Full credit to Huddersfield. Drew took full advantage, but can they last the pace? It's going to be very difficult, I feel, for this Huddersfield Giants half. They haven't really got into a good position, and the kick and chase game has to improve.
Well, we've got 40 minutes to go here at Odsal before we know the winners, and I wonder whether we will watch the last 40 minutes for Brian Noble here as the Bradford Bulls coach. We just honestly don't know, because I think a lot of us were convinced he was going to Wigan yesterday. Today, the bookies here around the stadium have stopped taking the bets. They think that he's staying. Well, we shall see.
And the wicked shall inherit the earth.
Constantine, the Saturday premiere. Saturday at 8 and 9 on Sky Movies.
Magnum power. I'm explosive.
I'm tempting.
I'm unpredictable. I'm superwoman. I'm a revelation. I'm serious. I'm wild.
I'm insatiable.
Are you?
Yes, I am. Magnum from Walls.
Chica, venga. Vamos.
Agent confirmed.
You have a wife, girlfriend? I'm gonna hurt her, and then I'm gonna kill you right in front of her.
Everybody get down!
It's Hunt. I know it's Hunt.
You'll never get what you want! You don't think I'll do it?
FX Premiere.
Keep a low profile.
Blend in. Do not attract attention.
Be unpredictable.
Don't make it easy for people to predict your actions.
Don't give out any personal information.
We cannot be exposed.
Our goal is to take them down.
You must be willing to sacrifice yourself.
You've got to keep yourself safe at any cost.
We must succeed at any cost.
Are we clear?
Sleeper Cell. A chilling new drama. Showing now only on FX.
Wish you had the number of a local taxi firm? Call the 118-118 chief.
We stand for traditional values.
You don't stand in the way of progress.
We stand for good manners.
We stand for good, clean fun.
Now only 35p.
If opportunity makes a thief. Okay. What breaks in?
Somebody saw you, Nick.
Find them.
You're exposed. You, your family.
The brand new U.S. drama series, Thief, starts tonight at 10, exclusive to Sky One.
It's been a big weekend of rugby league, but there is a massive night in the UEFA Champions League coming up on Wednesday. The semi-final first leg features Arsenal against Villarreal. It's live only on Sky Sports from 7 o'clock. And just look at that notice that they have pinned to the wall here in the Bradford dressing room. Loyal is one of the words that is used in that, and they hope that Brian Noble will remain loyal to the cause. He has been certainly throughout his entire life. He was a Great Britain captain at the age of 23 on the 1984 tour, the 1983 Young Player of the Year. His career spent exclusively here at his hometown Bradford, except for fleeting spells with Cronulla and at Wakefield in 1994. But as a coach, he has come through the ranks under Brian Smith, Matthew Elliott, and now, of course, he is the number one man himself, and you can see what the supporters on the terraces think. They are hoping against hope that he doesn't take up the offer to go to the Wigan Warriors and try and help them away from the foot of the table, to stay here and, who knows, take the Bradford Bulls to a 6th successive grand final. We're about to get the second half underway here. Bradford Bulls will attack from right to left as we watch, leading by 22 points to 12. And we're underway. A drive forward here by Paul Jackson. And I suppose Huddersfield would be looking to score very early in the second half if they can, just to put an element of doubt in the Bulls' minds. But by the look, and that was Did he actually hang on to that, Stuart Jones? The referee says he did.
Yeah,
and that's excellent work, if so.
Well, I'm sure the Giants coach John Sharp will make sure that the players realise that sometimes Bradford's defence just goes to sleep when they're deep in their own half. So Huddersfield have to test their arm, even though they're in their own quarter.
Steve, just look at the 4 tackles, though, that Bradford made. Textbook technique in all of those, really. Controlling the opposition, controlling the speed of that play of the ball. They really do have good technique in defence, the Bulls.
Bradford battling on tonight without their captain, Iestyn Harris. Might be back for the match at the weekend at Warrington. And Iestyn is alongside Bill.
Yes, and I imagine the Bulls at half-time would have been annoyed to find the Giants hanging on like this.
Well, yeah, I think they're doing really well. The Giants are just clinging on in there. We've just got to make sure we're really clinical this first 10 minutes of the half now. Make sure we control the ball and get a good kicking game, because it was a little bit scrappy at the start of the first half, so we're going to put that right this time.
Did they ease off? 16-0 up?
I don't think they eased off. I think Huddersfield are a really tricky side to play against. They're always in there and they always stay on you, and you just drop off for a second and they kill a punch you, and I think that's what they did, so we just got to be clinical now.
You're going to be okay for the weekend? Paul Cullen's our guest. He's anxious to know.
I hope so, yeah. I've got a scan tomorrow, but I don't think there's too much damage, so I should be good for Sunday.
Cheers.
Cheers, thanks.
Oh, the ball was knocked forward by the Huddersfield defender. Bradford have got it back in the shape of Stuart Field, and it was Stephen Wild who came up with the mistake. And here now is Langley, who goes straight through and over the top of Paul Jackson.
Come on, mate.
Halted though by James Evans. They are 10 metres away. Bradford, Leslie Vinacolo trying to pick up steam, but there were 3 there to greet him.
Beautiful little move, isn't it?
Well, the referee has shouted held.
He's given a penalty
and he's now given a penalty because the ball came free.
It was called held and continued on, and he was letting
Well, I always thought that once your teammate attached yourself, then it's the end of the tackle.
It's the wrong call. They can't instantly stop.
I know.
They were stopping tackling and he lost possession.
It's an awful rule.
And it's Paul Cullen's favourite rule, not.
Oh, can you believe it? Leslie Vinacolo, one of the strongest guys in the world of rugby league. If you drop off your defence for 1 second with him, he pops an offload. You've got a right to run him to the ground and run him into the touchline if you need to.
It's Henderson for Bradford. He finds Fielden. Fielden gets the try that Bradford wanted at the start of the second half. Stuart Fielden on his 81st consecutive appearance. That's 51 career tries now, and 3 tries for the season so far. A try here against Huddersfield last September, and here's another.
Good build-up, Vanguard stop, but watch the delayed pass there from Henderson. It is quite superb. We talk about the flat pass, and when you've got such a big guy close to the line, this is the incident that really should have been play on. It should have been head and feet to the Giants. I hate that rule. Hope that someone may be listening. Probably not, but take nothing away from the big prop forward. That was a great try.
It's almost inevitable, isn't it? Close to your own line, somebody somehow is going to find a way over. Fielden's strength just too much, but I feel as though the touch judge really stood up, communicated with the referee, explained the situation, and awarded a scrum feed to Huddersfield. As it is, trying to go to the Bulls.
Yes, Deacon just floats the conversion over the top of the bar. And Stuart Fielden's try, Paul Deacon's goal, it is 28 points to 12.
That's that special play I spoke about early in the first half, the one that Terry Newton ran across and tried to hit Stuart Fielden. There was a knock on. That angle, that communication wasn't quite there. They're used to Henderson, they're used to Fielden, and they got it back on early in the second half.
It's going to be very difficult for anybody that takes on this Bradford outfit now. The choice, of course, with Terry Newton and Ian Henderson. And he's played very well as Newton, and Henderson is a creator as well. So the prop forwards and the forwards at Bradford will be very, very happy for the rest of the season. They'll be scoring a lot of tries close to the line.
This is Stanley Jean. He plays the ball to Ian Henderson. And then a drive forward out of defence from Brett Ferris. Stanley Jean again. Down he goes eventually. How on earth has he held on to that? Wriggling to get his feet up on the ground again. Fielden. Try forward again by Stuart Fielden. Over halfway. Henderson. will scamper down this short side, halted by good tackling.
Well, we mentioned before the kick-off, Eddie, there was plenty of banners saying, you know, Brian, don't go, please stay. I think this Bradford outfit tonight have they've posted their own little message. We'd like you to stay, I feel.
Jean's kick wasn't the best. Gardner.
First, hold.
And Paul Riley is anxious to get back into the action. They've missed him at the back.
Second movement.
On he comes. This is Andy Rowley.
A little bit more work in the forward pack from the Giants. Get over that advantage line and try to slip the ball. Not easy against a compact defence from the Bulls. See how they quickly come out in the middle of the pitch. Try to force you right down the middle.
Last tackle here for Huddersfield, only on halfway. Kick has to be good. Finds its way, trickles into the arms of Marcus Bai. 2006 for the Giants. They hope it will be their breakthrough year. 7th in 2004, 8th last year. And, well, John Sharp hoping that they can make the step and join the end-of-season party and the top 6 playoffs this year.
Without being really spectacular, they have been consistent. They've had one bad half so far this year. That was in the first half at the JJB Stadium where they were blown away by the Wigan side. Their only win this year. But they've just steadily chipped away. I don't know whether they're going to be good enough here, though, to come back. You can see the vast majority of possession in favour of the Bulls, and it's hard to win a game without the ball.
And they've been on the end of some hidings here in the past. 40, 50, 60 points sometimes have been the norm. I suppose anything better than that will be deemed as some progress by Huddersfield here tonight. Riley, first touch since he's come back on.
First move, stand up.
Just had to stop there to collect the pass.
Jamie Langley offside.
Referee has penalised Jamie Langley for being offside.
You get the feeling that's the only way the Giants are going to get any kind of go forward whatsoever. If you compare that initial start to that set to the one from the Bulls, Bulls very dominant, very fast, very aggressive, push up either side of the ruck, and the Giants were getting a little bit bashed up then on the first and second tackle and needed that penalty to get good field position.
That was a ferocious challenge. It was by Shantaine Harpy. James Evans. He'll play the ball to Robbie Paul, who will find Brad Drew. Danger for the Bulls here. That's a good ball as well.
Third movement.
Jackson will play the ball to Drew again. They go down the left-hand side with Thorman. Short ball to Nero. Bradford muscling up in defence once more. They've defended their line quite solidly, apart from a couple of occasions. Here's Drew again. Flicks the ball back on the inside. There was nobody there, and Carl Price has it.
He was tackled before he had the ball, though, Eddie.
Yeah, but even so, Thorman had to be on hand.
I think it's a collision. Yeah, two players running in the same direction. With eyes on the ball.
It was though Carl Price was going to hit to him. It was obviously Johnson went in. Pretty hard to decide between the two. You've got to move your body forward as you're trying to make the impact into the tackle.
Hold. Go.
Marcus Bai to the 40-metre line.
A bit scrappier this play the ball. I think that Mr. Ganson may have to do something about this.
5.
Johnson plays it again to Henderson. Here is Deacon. Wide they come, they are running it. That was Fielden's pass, and they keep the ball going with Ferris and inside to Deacon. And that was Lynch, good hands, and Withers with the kick. Invitation for Fielden to go down this line, but just find its way into touch. And Aspinwall, well, he felt the full weight of Stuart Fielden then, after the ball had gone.
Tremendous vintage stuff from Bradford. Withers knew, get it right in and Fielden said, get out of the way.
Well, Aspinwall's been in the wars, hasn't he? Got battered by Vainikolo in the first half and just been shoved nearly into the stands by Fielden.
To be fair, though, to Aspinwall, you know, it was a big hit from Vainikolo, but I must say, within seconds, it was Aspinwall that was running down the field at 30 metres.
don't know whether you just caught sight of that, Phil. Half an hour to go, and the Giants only got 4 changes left off the interchange.
Well, a couple of them, remember, Eddie, to start the game, were forced by injury as Robbie Paul just chinks through the line, again tackled by Fielding. Had some bad luck with the timing of these injuries. Paul Riley off the field as they conceded a try, and so with Nero. So early doors, the signs were good for them. Now they're going to have to do it tough, aren't they, for 30 minutes. Earl Crabtree back on the field. I think he's about to cart this ball forward. He's a player who can chink through the line, get his arms free to some good offload and support, but not enough for the Giants being able to break through this very impressive Bulls defence tonight.
That's the last one. They're only just over halfway. Drew will chip it over and down the line. Leslie Vinacolo is after this. Collects it on the bounce. Infield it goes to Michael Withers. Good chasing though from Huddersfield. Now underneath his own sticks, Marcus Bye to try and work the ball out.
The Giants got to be careful now they don't get caught on the fringe. With a 28-12 lead, they're quite happy, Bradford, to do something a little bit different. And we've seen so many times in this game the linking quality of Gene and Deacon.
19-year-old Craig Kopjak is waiting to come into the match. He's on the sideline waiting to be introduced by Brian Noble. There he is, 19 years of age, prop forward or second row, new to the squad, local boy. Good kick down the line.
40-20.
It could easily be a 40-20. Paul Riley though just took the gamble. It bounced straight.
Great work from Withers
and Fielding.
Well, you'd have to say that those two are not the fastest on the field of play, but it's all about just thinking the game and positioning yourself, and they did that exceptionally well. And there he is again, Withers.
He was hurt though in that tackle on Aspinwall. It was a good run.
Clear.
And first tackle in the big league.
It's going to be
offside this time.
Yeah, a little bit of an experience coming out. Very early in the piece, but quick thinking, quick play the ball. I'm going to get a penalty here. It's difficult to stop.
Far better play from the Giants. They worked very well in defence on the previous set, restricted the kick. Deacon had to kick from his own 40, and then they returned the ball very well. And the first shot was a massive one by Stuart Fielding. So they do have the ability, the Giants, to soak up a little bit of pressure and come back in those middle channels.
Here's Thorman, spreads it wide, finds Michael De Vere. And Terry Newton waiting to return to the fray as well, as Thorman attacks the line. Gets the ball in field to Rally. Underneath the sticks. And Fielding has got a bang on the head as Drew goes down the channel. Maybe he would have been watching. Halted by Ian Henderson. Good ball on the inside. A drive forward by Steve Snitch just on. Drew again on the last tackle. Back it comes. Thorman will stab the ball in. And eventually it wends its way into the arms of Leslie Vinacolo.
Oh, that was great play. Nice little kick from Huddersfield. Got them through. It could have gone anywhere.
That was probably a great example of the difference between these two sides. One team can get to the opponent's line and find a way over it, through it, round it, whatever. They sometimes get the ball over the line and they come up with the points. The Giants haven't got that class at present.
No, I thought the inside ball was the best option then from Thorman, because Stuart Fielding had taken a little bit of a knock. He was involved in a double, possibly even a treble in defence, and they had bodies out wide, and the Giants went with a kick out wide. Not the right one.
I think the physio's just asked Stuart Fielding if he's all right. He doesn't like coming off the field, does he? And even though he's got a bang on the head, I think he said, yeah, I'm okay. And here he is trying to prove it. And that's tackle not completed. Gets the ball away to Kopjak. Newton returns.
Outstanding game, Stuart Fielding. He's certainly back to his best. Hungry for that football.
There's Newton. Here's Stanley Jean. This is Carl Price. Danger here for Huddersfield. Chip over the top. And it's Deacon. He bounces off one. The support is there. Deacon takes it. Finds Shontaine Harpy. Oh, it's a magnificent Bradford try. That's a magnificent Bradford Bulls try. Stuart Fielding goes off and leaves the scene temporarily, but that was terrific from Bradford. And I thought for long periods of this match that we've been watching it in something of a cathedral-like atmosphere, but that sort of play from the Bradford Bulls really does get the supporters on the toes. Great try this.
certainly is, and it was Fielden that got them in a good position. What a beautifully placed kick from Carl Price. They got back in numbers though, full credit to the Giants, tried everything. But when you just keep them moving around, there was nothing you could do about it. The experience of Shontaine Harpy. When he finally gets this ball, Deacon just jinks it away, but watch how Harpy knows that they're coming across, and he steps as soon as he gets it. Oh, that was superb. World class.
It's no coincidence that they are the best team at scoring on the last tackle. It's a reflection of the skill in the side. We saw 5 passes, 1 short kick, and fantastic support play. To score like that on the last tackle, outstanding play from the Bulls, a real treat to finish off this Easter programme.
Wonderful skill from, well, Deacon to follow up the kick over the top from Price in the first instance, and then just to keep the ball alive and to find Shontaine Harpy on this left-hand side. One end of the field to the other, and Deacon adds the extra 2. Well, if it is a send-off for Brian, it is a happy send-off.
Certainly is. That was champagne football, no doubt about it, finished by this fella. But it all started by Stuart Fielden. His ability to break through, and not only that, regather his feet, take it a few more yards, and then offload. That's the reason why they're the champions.
The Bulls really are the kings of the last play. When you've got wingers like Marcus Bai and Leslie Vanacola, if you hang back with your own wingers waiting for them to kick the ball, they have the opportunity to put that wide pass out. We usually see it coming from Yestin Harris. He's not there tonight. That was off Stanley Jean. If your wingers hang back and invite their wingers to come onto the ball, invariably the Bulls will take it. That's a massive play, and it's not for the first time tonight the Giants wingers have stayed back and invited their opposition to come at them.
Short ball from Kopjak, but good defence from Michael De Vere. Vanganar. Oh, they're starting to punch a few holes now. Here goes Kopjak, and he's on his own with support eventually from Withers. Withers thought about a kick to the corner. There it goes. Looking for Harpy, looking for Ferris. Ball bounces awkwardly for the Huddersfield defender Aspinwall, but he does really well. And it will be a goal line dropout for Huddersfield. But credit Aspinwall, he was certainly outnumbered 3-1 here, but got his hand to it.
Great work from Aspinwall, but what about the youngster, Craig Kopjak? Confidence, not only striding through, but a wonderful ability, Bradford, to unearth good, young forwards.
There's Stuart Fielden,
and I bet
prowling in the box.
I bet he was on the, but he was up to his feet and saying, he's made a break, he's put an offload, get me back on there. I want to show who's the master.
He likes to do the 80 minutes, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Doesn't like coming off, but injuries force you from the field of play from time to time. Marcus Bai trying to low Bradford down now, the Giants. Here is Johnson. 3 tackles gone, they're 5 metres away. Back it comes to Stanley Jean. He helps it wide to Deacon. Back on the inside to Big Joe Vanganar. Surely not another try from him tonight. No, not this time. Usually gets 1 a year. He has had that already.
They've got the overlap.
Oh,
they dropped it.
They were a little over elaborate then. And Carl Price, it was a dipping ball.
Yeah, it wasn't the best pass at all. It just shows you the confidence that they can just keep it alive. Look at that, Johnson. He was going to be hounded down. He was on the half turn. Didn't get away with it. Pretty big hole now for the Giants to get out of. Got to get good field position and try to get consecutive sets of 6. Apply some sort of pressure to the Bulls. Something they haven't done often in this game.
Stephen Wild in field to snitch. Stephen Wild, Martin Aspinwall, they will be lying in wait for Wigan at the Galfarm Stadium on Saturday night. Drew again, another lovely run from Brad Drew. There is Wild, here is Drew, and Drew, oh, he turns them inside out. Oh, brilliant. Brad Drew underneath the sticks for Huddersfield, and that shows what this team is capable of, and it shows what that man is capable of. Brad Drew has come off the bench tonight, and he has, at times, punctuated the match with some absolutely brilliant play. Brad Drew, it's his 40th consecutive appearance, and that's a great try.
Certainly is. You mentioned early in this second half that the one thing that Huddersfield can do is make the break when Bradford way down the field of play, but look at the quality of this. That takes a lot of confidence, a lot of skill. Not many hookers out there can do all this. Make the break, back on the inside. See him shouting for it. Knows it coming. There's the step. Throws the dummy. Wow. Admiration.
And the kick taken quickly by Chris Thorman. He adds the extras. Brad Drew and Huddersfield haven't given this up yet, even though they trail by 34 points to 18.
No, they really are a team with a never-say-die attitude, who are prepared to play for the full 80 minutes. They, as you say, took the goal quickly. When they've been able to find a gap through this Bulls defence, the support play and speed really is the impressive quality for them. They've just come up against a side tonight who really do seem to have peaked over the Easter period. They've targeted the two games, the one at the Carnegie Stadium against Leeds, and then the one here tonight, and they are playing out of the skillet at the moment, the Bulls.
But 19 minutes remaining, and after this heavy Easter programme, and it's a very physical game to be playing 2 matches in the space of 3 or 4 days. You just wonder now, as we wondered yesterday at Castleford, which team can just hang on in the last 20 minutes. Fitness, Paul Cullen, is the key. You will know that after the 64-6 victory for your men last night.
Well, you've got to go fast and go fast early, because sometimes that second game over Easter has its own psychology. Go fast, go early. You might just paper over 1 or 2 cracks, get some scores on the board. Very interesting to note how the Giants got from one end of the field once more. If you go one out against the Bulls, you're going to get bashed. But the Bulls, the Giants have got down there on the back of penalties and on the back of movement at the ruck and turning the ball back on the inside.
And that's a great kick again from Brad Drew.
What about the chase from Stephen Wild?
Michael Withers trapped in goal by Stephen Wild's enthusiastic chase.
Sheer quality from this fella, Brad Drew. And the kick, as Phil has mentioned, Wild really put the pressure on. It's amazing, you know, Withers very rarely gets beaten and gets tackled in the in-goal area, but it's a combination. And not surprisingly, I think Brian Noble has said we'll give the fullback a little bit of a rest after a lot of work tonight.
Here comes Steve Snitch with this first drive forward for the Huddersfield Giants. Missed the game against Hull on Friday. A quality acquisition, this young man from Wakefield. Now it's with Earl Crabtree, and suddenly Huddersfield have the sniff of something again.
There's been a rare occurrence that they applied the pressure near the Bradford line. They got the quality, we've seen that already.
Nero, he's normally so reliable.
He's coming back on that short inside.
The collision actually with Chris Thorman himself.
Knocked it out of his hands.
Phil, I just want to ask you this question about the likes of the Wiganers, Stuart Jones, Stephen Wild, Martin Aspinwall. How are they looking forward to Saturday night, do you think?
I think they'll be really pumped for it, particularly because they actually went to the JJB Stadium early in the season and lost. And they really do have a point to prove to themselves, their family, their friends, and their ex-teammates at the Wigan club. So it's going to be a really impressive and important game for both sets of players on Saturday night on Sky Sports. And in seeing Wigan play against the Harlequins, they really have a mountain to climb in preparation for this game. And it looks at this stage that the Giants will want to bounce back with a better performance than what we've seen tonight. Saturday will be brilliant. Don't miss it.
Should be, absolutely. Here is Newton again, and on it goes via Marcus St. Hilaire to Stanley Jean. Lovely ball wide to Carl Price. Carl Price backing himself. He's a big lump of a lad, this. Saw his brother Leon making his way into the ground before the match to watch his brother, watch his former teammates, of course. Here is Deacon. Paul Deacon on an armed run. He gets the ball to Paul Johnson. Johnson delays the ball. Carl Price finishes it off. And there is Leon. Drawing applause from his brother on the sideline, and why not? Carl Price, though, hurt in scoring that try, but he started it and he has finished it. And he doesn't look terribly well at the moment. He's clutching the knee, which is already bandaged.
Certainly went down awkward, but a typical Bradford try. Take the opportunity. Watch how Deacon just changes the way that it runs back in. Look at that. They expect it to go out to his left, and the delayed pass from Johnson. How was that? That was superb, wasn't it? Just sucked the defence in. But this is where the quality comes in. They're all moving across to the right. And then, come on get me. Bang. Basic, but I love to watch it.
Nero just fell on the back of the knee as Carl Price scored the try, and he's still down, as you can see.
Nothing wrong. Okay,
Carl Price, 19 years of age. He had a wow of a first year last year in Bradford's colours. He's going to get better and better. And Deacon from the other side this time. And the flags will tell you that's 2 more points for the Bradford Bulls. They've hit the 40 mark. Huddersfield 18.
Well, it looks as though they may lose a try score in the process. But look at that power now, able to penetrate from deep. And that 5th tackle option, players prefer to run it. Everybody staying on side behind the ball carrier, making themselves alive. And again, nobody more alive than Carl Price.
There's the defence going one way, and there is Mr. Deacon going the other. Great stuff. Well, they've got it off from the kick-off.
They have short kick-off, and Chris Nero, it was a game of ping-pong for a moment in the air. Injury news from Bill.
Well, it looks like a bit of a bang on the knee for Carl Price. He's hobbling round the back of the in-goal area at the moment, unaided. Meanwhile, Mike Withers, who'd only just come off, nursing a bit of a bang in the ribs, has had to go straight back out there. He just got ice on the ribs. Stuart Fielden, no injury news with him, or no injury problem with him. He did get a bit of a bang on the head earlier on. He's shaken that off and he's ready to come back on, eager to come back on.
Evans gets the ball. Well, he tried to get the ball to Aspinwall, but it was great defence actually from Shantaine Harpy.
Well, the ball played the man, so this will be head and feet for Bradford. And it just shows you the quality of that defence. Even though that Huddersfield are trying to bring people back on the angles, they are not confusing the Bulls' defence. They stay their ground, they stick with their man. That is really good teamwork.
Man, that's the difference between both sides. The Bradford wingers stay up, they push up, and they make it difficult for you to play. The Huddersfield wingers are dropping back, and the Bulls don't need an invitation to come onto the ball.
Well, Huddersfield have been on the end of some hidings, as I said earlier, when they have come up against the Bradford Bulls. 70-18 once at the Valley Parade Ground in 2001. And 2 visits to once to the last season. 30-16, 40-12, 2003, 50-14, 2004, 52-34. Always points on show when Huddersfield are in Bradford. And sadly for them, on the wrong side of the scoreline. Never beaten Bradford in Super League.
The amazing thing about this game, you know, everybody came here, anticipation, is Noble going to go, is he going to stay here, whatever, and they really have dug deep. Okay, it was a bad error, but it has been a very professional performance by the Bulls tonight, apart from that.
I wonder if we are going to get some sort of announcement, as we heard just before the game, about the future of this fellow.
And they were playing a song, weren't they, before the two teams came out? I predict a riot. I think there'll be a riot if they say that Brian Noble's going to leave at the end of this match.
And I think they were also playing, weren't they, very early in the piece, "When Will I See You Again?"
Yeah, I think they were trying to just remind him they don't want him to go.
You're trying to offload me.
Phil, if he decides to stay here, I said we wouldn't add to this speculation and rumour, but we're going to. If he decides to stay here, what does that mean for Wigan?
Okay.
It means they probably need a new coach, and as soon as possible, doesn't it?
Now, you tipped on Sky Sports News earlier today, I know, Adrian Lamb.
Well, he was a strong candidate when they first released Ian Millward from the coaching position. Very popular at the club still from his playing days and his coaching days. He coached the under-21 side there just very recently, last season, before returning to Australia as the assistant coach to Stuart Raper at Cronulla. Also another former Wigan coach, so still held in high regard amongst the players and the fans, and he probably would do a pretty good job. His reputation coaching the under-21s very, very strong, very popular, and they all thought he did a good job there. So,
but whoever comes, Phil, will be second choice after all the publicity over the past week. If it's not going to be Brian Noble, that is. Now, we're assuming that maybe he isn't.
I think people soon get over that being second choice. Once they get into doing the job, they'll know how big a job it is, how difficult it is, but it's still a great challenge.
Deacon with the high kick. Riley and Henderson. He looked then and said, where on earth did you come from?
Well, it was a good job that Riley had the ball in his hand, because he was just about to lose it.
It's maybe a good job it wasn't Leslie Vainicolo that hit Paul Riley earlier on, the way Martin Aspinwall.
He's been in the wars as Huddersfield fullback Riley, that's for sure. There's been some pretty big hits out there. And full credit to both sides. You mentioned it is a very hectic Easter period, and a lot of these players running on empty.
When you think I've heard the word used so often before, the physicality of this sport, well, you cringe watching it at times, but boy, it's compelling stuff. The players should actually get full marks, and that's a great little kick from Robbie Paul. Oh, well, it could have been, but Marcus Bai was the man who read it. It was danger for a moment for Bradford, but Bai took control of the situation. And look, there is another man injured for Huddersfield, and it's Stephen Wild who is limping off the field. Stuart Fielding goes round one man, goes round another man, goes round another man, gives it to Leslie Vainicolo. Great try from Bradford, and Stuart Fielding, the engineer-in-chief, and Leslie Vainicolo with the simplest of jobs to finish it off. World-class prop forward play from Stuart Fielding. Biff, bang, wallop, and the line opened up for Big Leslie, but he hadn't scored for 3 until that moment. That's another record put straight.
Getting a bit scrappy at the moment, but then they just click into gear. Remember, a few moments ago when they brought Craig Kopchak on, and he made the break and the offload, and we could see on the sidelines that Fielder was saying, get me out there, I want to show I can do that as well, and he has done it. Just watch this, get out of the way, bang, second effort. Look how he changes the ball so he can pass, but before that, change the ball so he could fend. Brilliant.
Well, as players get older, they usually move from the backs into the forwards. It happened to Paul Cullen at Warrington. I think Stuart Fielding's trying to go the other way. He knows how tough it is playing in the front row, and he fancies playing left centre with Leslie Vainicolo outside him. He's starting to score from deep with just the power and strength visibly evident now in the last few minutes.
Paul Deacon, 6 from 7, and that is 7 from 8. And that equals the all-time Bradford goal record of 779 set by Keith Mumby at the old Bradford Northern Club, the course that Brian Noble has been such a part of. 20 years Keith Mumby was here, from 1973 to 1993, and he is now Bradford's greatest ever goal kicker, Paul Deacon. And that is just being announced to the crowd here, that he is now the record holder. And warm applause from the Bradford faithful. High kick-off, it's out on the
right on the fall, that's a shocker.
And how old is Paul Deacon yet? He's still got a lot of life left in the legs yet.
Paul Deacon's got a long time to go, he's 27.
Goodness me, that record could go on forever, couldn't it?
Certainly does, and it just shows you the power over the last 5 or 6 years that Bradford have had, and the ability to score so many points. It's incredible.
And do you know that Paul Deacon has only been kicking for Bradford since 2002? So that record has come in just over 4 years. Fantastic. Who's your man of the match? Dave Hadfield has one.
Well, we thought Brad Drew sparked up Huddersfield at times, but it's been a great farewell, if that's what it is, from Bradford for Brian Noble, with some great individual performances. Terry Newton, a very eye-catching debut. Paul Deacon's been good. Stanley Jean's been good. But our man, he's put in well over an hour of fantastic prop forward play tonight. Ferocious in the tackle, fantastic with the ball, as we just saw a moment ago. Stuart Fielding.
Very well-deserved, Stuart Fielding. He was man of the match in the World Club Challenge at the start of this campaign, when he notched 2 tries himself that night against West Tigers. Here is Ian Henderson, still ploughing the way forward, halted underneath the posts. So another man of the match award for Stuart Fielding. No, it's a right muzzle, it's got to be a penalty.
Well, on tapping, Stanley Jean will go on his own. He loves to score tries. He's over. Has he got it down? Don't think so.
Referee Steve Ganson asks Steve Presley to take a look, the video referee.
You know, the Papua New Guinean just loves nothing better than to get the ball down. I don't think he has on this occasion.
In fact, first tackle as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 2 foot away from the ground. But you could just sense it that he was going to tap it and go. This will be NOTR wide, no doubt about that.
And I think Stanley knows as well. He's anxious to play the ball. We wait for the decision. No try. First tackle attack. And they're on with it very quickly. Bradford hunting more points. Vanganar! Vanganar, he's going to be held up over the line. No, he's not. They force him back. Referee shouts held. There's Henderson. There's Henderson at dummy half. Spreads it wide. Deacon finds Stanley. Stanley Jean wide to Michael Withers. Henderson again taking control of the situation to play the ball. Back it comes to Deacon. Deacon to Stanley Jean. And Jean, well, he dropped that. The ball eventually is picked up. The referee says Huddersfield ball, and it is, because Andy Raleigh was the first to react. 4 minutes remaining. It's a Bradford victory. They go third in the table. Salford slipped down a place, fourth. Fourth will play second then on Sky Sports on Friday. Salford against... I beg your pardon. Fourth will play top on Friday night. Salford against Saints. Brian Noble on his way down. Is he going to make some sort of announcement on this field at the end of the match? Probably not, knowing Brian. He does not do things like that. Aspinwall looking for somebody outside him. There was nobody there. Stuart Jones. Infielder comes Robbie Paul. Up the middle with Thorman. And they go wide with Chris Nero. Nero, good offload. Here's Paul Riley. Nowhere to go though. This defence from Bradford watertight. Nero with a little chip through. Oh, and backheeled and gobbled up by Terry Newton, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Well, they're going for the option of just trying to get the kick through. I mean, Huddersfield have tried very hard indeed, but they've come up against a very solid outfit. Brian Noble would be very, very pleased, and so he should be. Professional performance tonight.
The Bulls have punished the Giants in those middle areas of the field, whether it be Big Joe Vanganar, Terry Newton moving out there. Stuart Fielden has been absolutely unstoppable. There's a trail of chaos behind Stuart Fielden. He cuts a swathe through the opposition defence. It takes at least 2, possibly 3 men to pull him down if you succeed. Even when you're doing that, he gets a quick play of the ball and they power upstream on the back of him. He is a very, very difficult man to hold.
You'll be having a word then with Paul Wood and Chris Lightfall this week, telling them what to expect.
Well, they've managed it for the last 3 times, so we know what to expect. If you don't front up, you don't match him, you're in trouble.
Here's Paul Johnson again.
Now they will do the short blind. They're trying to stack it.
Come this way with Deacon. Here's Stanley Jean. Back it goes to Shontaine Harpy. Wonderful handling skills. And Leslie Vinacolo again. Second try for Leslie. He's been quiet for 3 matches. Hasn't scored. Now he's got 2 here tonight in the space of about the last 3 or 4 minutes. Brian Noble with a big smile on his face. Does that give us any hint? I know, and I've been as guilty as anybody over the past week.
I'm going to take the microphone off.
I want the whole business ended, and I'm sure that Brian Noble will do as well.
But it gives the fans something to talk about. I'm not so sure that was a touch forward, but either way, it's nice to see a set move, isn't it? Back on the inside. We used to call it a crisscross years and years. I'm sure that when Paul played and Clarkey played, you'd have a different name for it. But it is nothing unusual. And he's happy with it. And will the crowd be happy when he announces?
As the game's gone on, the tries have just got better and better by the Bulls. Brilliant support play from Vinacolo to Harpy. The quality of the width of the passing, really, really admirable from the Bulls tonight.
And there's yet another goal for kicker extraordinaire at Bradford, Paul Deacon, and it's another 52 points New record, 780 goals now. Another big score against Huddersfield, against Bradford here. And will he or won't he? And John Sharp, his Great Britain assistant, will just look now and plan for Wigan on Saturday at the Galpalm Stadium here on Sky Sports. Knowing Brian as we do, Steve, I don't think he's one for histrionics and dramatics. I don't think he'll be out in the middle of the field announcing anything, but I wonder if someone from the club will. If there's anything to announce, of course. There's nothing more to talk about in terms of the game. It's all over. And Brian Noble shakes hands with everybody, not quite as delirious as it was on Thursday night when Leeds were put to the sword at Headingley. But he is very much the man of the moment. He goes over and shakes hands with his great friend John Sharp.
Especially you Bradford Bulls fans.
And Brian marches out onto the field as well.
It's on Friday, the 28th of April. It's against the Catalans Dragons.
To be with his players. A great win for Bradford, a great win for Brian Noble. 52 points to 18. And he is, of course, very much the man at the centre of all the talk in rugby league. It's nice to be wanted, he says, but it's far more important to be nice. And he is one of the nicest blokes in the game, and there is great camaraderie amongst these Bradford players and their coach. Stuart Fielden's the man of the match. He wins the Gillette Sports Pack. A great performance. Here he is with Bill.
Try scoring, try maker. Can't ask for more than that, can you?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get a bit of flack of it.
What, the old inside centre bit?
I was inside the centre and I was in the middle, so that counts for me inside the centre. But yeah,
you enjoy that?
You're going to enjoy scoring. It's a rare thing for us, but it's not about try scoring for me or anyone on our team. It's about performing well, and we backed up Leeds quite good because Huddersfield are a good team. But you know, these things we can improve on, and we'll need to for next week.
Well, it's a perfect weekend, isn't it? Perfect Easter for you.
It's a great Easter, yeah, and it's going to be perfect. We've won both games, and one of them's against Leeds. You know, they're a great team, but that's no different to the field. They're well coached and they've got good structures, but they just showed we can back it up. We did tonight, and we'll need to back it up yet again on Sunday.
Just how draining is it? I mean, you've probably had easier is not exactly the right word, but you've had a bit more recovery time. Just how draining is this Easter period?
It's massively